Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today, we're going to be covering multiple altcoins. Where is market going to go over the next couple of days, couple of weeks? Is it a good time to buy or not? But before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to join the community, if you like a portfolio review, make sure to join the community. We also are starting to trade a lot. We can see the other day I called out pretty much gold analysis, right? For me, I said, hey, gold is reversing. A lot of people thought, you know, gold is going to continue going down and down and down. I gave a full detailed analysis of why I believe gold was going to reverse. And we can see that now gold is literally at all-time highs, just roughly a day and a half later. Nice 2K USD profit made from this trade from one of my funded accounts. Absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend for you to join the Discord. Look, Bitcoin, right? Talked about it previously in one of the turbo videos, but also in the community, saying, hey, look, I believe we are going to be pretty much going back down, at least temporarily, right? I said that is a huge possibility because, ladies and gentlemen, right, we are actually at a huge support zone that's kind of working more like a resistance now, because we have fallen below. On the 6th of April, we fell below all the way down to 74,000, and now we have retested it, right? Me personally, I do believe this is personally going to be a pull back down for us to then go higher. I know some people are skeptical about that, and I understand, but even in the turbo video, right, where a couple of you guys saw, we talked about this order block being, right, this order block being a key factor, right, a key pullback area. I believe that we will start reversing from here to go forward. Now, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, right? For us to get lots and lots of confirmation, we need to start closing above $82,000, and just overall, right, generally speaking, get some more sideways movement before I can call the reversals, right? There are signs, and I do believe I have been calling, the signs and the clues in the markets already before, right? We talked about how this area was a key area over here of roughly 78,000, right? How we could have expected some type of pullbacks to go there. But also saying that, liquidity sweeps were possible because look, the markets love to sweep certain areas before they never come back, right? We had this daily candle over here at what, $76,500, right? And if we go to a weekly chart, that was also a weekly candle. If we go to a monthly, that was also a monthly candle. If we go to the quarterly, that was also the quarterly candle. So that's why I said, April still can be a little bit of a sweep, but generally speaking, I do believe April, May, June are going to be the recoveries. We can see that Bitcoin dominance overall has fallen too, right? We can see in the last day or so, Bitcoin dominance has fallen, just not much, to be honest, a little bit, and now we are starting to go back up. The beautiful thing is, ladies and gentlemen, right, we pumped a lot, right? Like, let's say something like Ondo has pumped a lot from its bottoms. Let's just take from this one to up here, right? It went up 30%. Now it's only at 18% pump, but it did go up 31%. And that's when Bitcoin went up a couple thousand, right? Bitcoin went what, up 6,000 or so, and we saw things like Ondo and other coins averaging from like 18 to 30%, and that was with a slight Bitcoin dominance drop. Okay, we know it's something that we have been talking about for a while, is when Bitcoin dominance starts dropping, that is when the real money is gonna come in, right? Especially if Bitcoin will be pumping too at the same time. That's gonna be just a double positive. But even if Bitcoin does not pump necessarily, let's say just Bitcoin goes sideways, but then Bitcoin dominance starts dropping, that means we are getting a lot of money coming into the markets, coming into all coins, which is what most of us want to see. I assume most of you that watch these videos, hold majority altcoins. Maybe some of you hold some Bitcoin, but for people like us, we are trying to make some very nice gains when it comes to altcoins. I know a lot of us have bought back in 2024, hence why there's a lot of people cash, like clocking out mentally, right? They just couldn't handle what is happening over the markets in the last few months. And I understand, because in the last few weeks, we have dropped off a lot, right? Something like Dia coin, it peaked pretty much in mid to late October. Ever since then, it has been retracing back down even to its bottoms of, August of 2024. So, not ideal for people that bought anywhere, let's just say after the pumps, right? Or anywhere in these areas. They probably are stressing out, right? Even if we take it from somewhere in the middle to here, you are down roughly 70%. Put in 10K, you're down 7. That is a lot of money, right? That is a lot of money at the end of the day. Speaking about Dia, I will cover Dia right now very quickly. Dia overall is a very fantastic buying opportunity. I mean, look at this. We have so much weekly support over here, right? We have all these tap ins, right? We do have this little bottom, but I don't believe we will be hitting that necessarily. Right now, if I was looking to take a risk, that doesn't need to be the literal perfect bottom. Right now is a fantastic price. Right now is a fantastic price. Something I do want to cover very, very quickly that's very, very important before we dive into the other coins like Kaspa, Turbo, Render, ICP, and other coins is that, ladies and gentlemen, Pangolin has officially released version 3. Okay, so we can see if we go to this, Pangolin V3 audit is complete, right? And we can see that they have pretty much said, the audit is finally complete. So it's not, everything's not fully out just yet, but the audit's finally complete, which means pretty much version 3 is right here. So very, very big, great times. Someone says, I wish we had a better timing. Actually, this is actually perfect timing. This is literally perfect timing, because, ladies and gentlemen, it is at the bottoms, right? Pangolin literally is at a perfect time and place to be buying. Okay, literally perfect. We corrected all of the imbalance. We are at these bottoms, right? We are technically, even if we start reversing here, technically we are creating a higher low, right? We are creating a higher low, and fantastic buying opportunities. I just really, really, really like it. So something like Myro, though, I don't really like. This coin is in the dumps. This coin is in absolute hell. I still hold technically a little bit of Myro, but my Myro position was really, really small. It's unfortunate what happened with this coin. The potential was insane. Just unfortunately, the developers and the community support was not there, and this coin died out. But this is why I'm super high on something like Turbo, right? Sure, Turbo has gone down, 80-85% from its highs, but so have most meme coins, and some meme coins actually have gone down even way further and have zero chance of recovering, while Turbo, I believe it will start recovering. Obviously, we know in terms of key details, if you want me to be super, super bullish, we must reclaim this area. Of course, there will be some reversal signs down here, but if you want the bigger, higher time frame confirmations, we have to pretty much reclaim 0.0033. Other than that, fantastic buying opportunities. You guessed it too, something with ICP, great buying opportunities. I'm sensing you guys feel a theme, Overall, right now with the markets, I'm super, super high on them in terms of buying opportunities. Buying ICPF 477, more or less, I feel super, super safe. I mean, you got to remember, some people were literally buying at 16 bucks, 18 bucks, 15, 12 bucks. So, having this nice premium discount, I believe this is going to be, these areas overall that we talk about are going to be areas where people look in hindsight and be like, oh, I wish I bought. I should have bought here. Oh, of course, this was a bottom here. But, everyone's an expert in hindsight. Not many people can tell you, good buying opportunities when we are at relevant bottoms. Kaspa is holding really, really well despite Bitcoin dropping, right? In fact, Kaspa has actually been going up the last few hours while Bitcoin has been going down. We can see that there are multiple 4-hour candles here that have been looking very, very weak. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 hours worth of very weak selling pressure. And we just kind of almost reclaimed all of this territory with one 4-hour candle. Of course, it hasn't closed just yet. But I mean, this is a very, very bullish sign for this project overall, that if the market's bleeding out, but Caspa's kind of pumping, then that should give you great signs. Render also in a very, very similar boat. That is what we like to see. As you guys know, I love Render. I love ICP, Kaspa. I'm high on them. Pangolin's kind of like my dark horse. And I'm just super, super, I'm just super, super excited for this altcoin season. Generally, I genuinely feel like the reversals are around the corner. I bought very, very big, nice bags of certain cryptos. Like again, if you want to know what I buy, you want to see when I sell, make sure to join the community, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, that is pretty much it. We do have this final thing I want to talk about, which is pretty much the altcoin dominance. Now, this is something I put in the community, but I'll share with you guys too. That pretty much this is relevant, right? This was a rejection at one point. We went back up. We started to close here for multiple weeks. We failed. We closed below. And this is a crash candle. Now, this candle is a pullback candle to pretty much potentially start going to lower key levels, which we may go to 6.5%. Now, if that is going to be the case, coins will start dropping once again, but I don't believe coins will go much further than the lows they were at just 2-3 days ago. Okay. Overall, I do think, right now, generally speaking, even if we look at something like this, right now, the altcoin dominance is almost as low as it's going to get. Even if it's possible that we go a little bit lower, I don't think we will go that much lower. We technically did tap into the monthly order block for altcoin dominance, so we could start very well reversing. Of course, we want to see how this weekly candle closes, how we manage, but for me, since this is most likely a pullback to go slightly lower, then, means certain prices may drop for certain coins. But, ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't necessarily have to be the case because this could very well be the start of reversal. Overall, with something like crypto, I don't care about being 100% accurate. It's just like if I'm 85, 90% accurate, that's fine with me. That comes when in terms of buying and selling. I don't need to buy the literal bottom. I don't need to sell the literal top. That will start destroying your mental health. That will start putting a lot of pressure on you because you feel like you need the best of the best in both worlds. When, ladies and gentlemen, trust me, if you buy near the bottoms and sell near the tops, you'll have pretty much almost near the same amount of money, but a million times less stress. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.